Winter. 1880. The Dakota Territory. They called it the hard winter, the worst blizzard season in American history. Trains stopped running. Towns were buried. Thousands froze to death. But for the Hargrove family, trapped in their isolated farmhouse, the cold wasn't the real danger. Because something was waiting in the snow. And it was patient. Thomas and Martha Hargrove lived 30 miles from the nearest town with their 3 children. When the blizzard started in October 1880, they thought they'd survive. They had food, firewood, supplies, but the storms never stopped. By January, their food was gone. The livestock were dead. They were burning furniture just to see another morning. That's when Martha saw it. A figure, standing in the snow outside their window. Tall, motionless. Even as the wind screamed and the snow fell sideways, it never moved. Thomas went outside to investigate. But when he got close, there was nothing there. Just empty white. "You're seeing things," he told her. "Hunger plays tricks on the mind." But the next night, it was closer. Their son Daniel, 12 years old, became obsessed with the figure. He'd stare out the window for hours. "What's it waiting for, pal?" he'd whisper. Then one morning, Daniel's bed was empty. The door hung open. Snow covered the floor. Thomas found him 20 yards from the house. Barefoot, no coat, standing in the freezing wind, staring at the figure. "Daniel, you'll freeze." Thomas grabbed him, shook him, but Daniel's skin was ice cold. His lips were blue. Frost had formed on his eyebrows. And he was smiling. "I'm not cold anymore, Pa," he whispered. "It showed me something. Fighting the cold, that's what kills you." They dragged him inside, wrapped him in blankets. But his eyes stayed distant, calm, like he'd learned a terrible secret. That night, the last log burned out. The temperature plummeted. Ice formed on the walls. Their breath came out in thick clouds. 8-year-old Sarah stood up, walked to the door. "Sarah, no." Martha screamed, but Sarah stepped outside, into the blizzard, in just her nightgown. She didn't shiver, didn't cry. She just walked toward the figure and stopped beside it, waiting. Then Daniel stood up. "You're still fighting," he said softly. "That's why it hurts." And he walked out, joined his sister in the snow. Thomas barricaded the door with his frozen, bleeding hands. "We're not giving up," he said desperately. "We're not." But Martha was staring at the window, at their children standing peacefully beside the dark figure. 3 months, Thomas," she whispered. 3 months of fighting. I'm so tired." "Martha, please." She stood. "Let the blankets fall. I can't fight anymore." She walked to the door, pulled away the boards, and stepped into the blizzard. Thomas watched as his wife joined their children. The 4 of them stood beside the figure, perfectly still. The wind stopped. Everything went silent. And in that silence, Thomas heard a whisper. Not from outside. From inside his own head. "Stop fighting." He looked at his frost-bitten hands. At the empty, frozen house. At his family waiting in the white. The figure turned, faced him directly. And Thomas finally understood. The cold wasn't trying to kill them. It was offering them peace. He walked to the door and joined them. They found the Hargrove house that spring. Door wide open. No bodies. Just 5 sets of footprints in the mud, leading away from the house. The tracks went 50 yards. Then vanished. Over 100 settlers disappeared that winter. Most were found dead when the snow melted. But some, like the Hargroves, were never found at all. And on the coldest nights, when the wind howls across the Dakota plains, people still see it. A tall figure in the snow. And sometimes, it's not alone.